Hey guys, today we're going to talk about endowment, dowry, and inheritance. Smash that like button if you are excited about these words. Let's start with endowment. What does that mean? Endowment. We're talking about money or property or something. Now, the verb, this is a noun. The verb is endow. Endow. That's easy, right? If we want to change this noun to a verb, we just take off the end. Get out of here, meant. We get rid of the meant, and we're left with endow, okay? So endow means to give something as a permanent gift. Okay, usually we're talking about money or land or something big. Okay, if your friend buys you a coffee, they didn't endow you with a coffee. They just gave you a coffee as a gift. So when you think about the word endow, we're talking about big things. We're talking about permanent things. Okay, like maybe land or a house or something of significant value, not a cup of coffee. Okay, look at this example. The scholarship endowed by an anonymous philanthropist will help low-income students afford high-cost medical degrees. Okay, do you understand this sentence? There's some big words here. Let's break it down. Now first, look at this comma here. Why is this comma here? Well, when you see this, a comma here for no reason, that means there's going to be another comma somewhere else. Can you see another comma? Yes, right there. So this comma and this comma, they go together. And what do they show? They show that this is a different part of the sentence. Okay, this is kind of a separate part of the sentence. So the actual simple sentence is this: the scholarship will help low-income students afford high-cost medical degrees, right? But this part, we're like adding a new idea or something a little bit unrelated into the middle of the sentence. So if we're going to take a piece and put it in the middle of a sentence, we need to use commas. Okay? So the scholarship, comma, endowed by an anonymous philanthropist, will help low-income students afford high-cost medical degrees. Now, instead of commas here, you could use parentheses. Look at this. These are called parentheses. And they also serve the purpose of kind of showing that this is it's a different part of the sentence. Okay, so the main sentence is the scholarship will help low-income students, right? So we could use parentheses here. These little lines, these curves, they're called parentheses. It's kind of a weird sounding word. Can you say it? Parentheses. Now, parentheses are used when some information in the sentence is not very important. Okay, so if you use parentheses here, this shows that this part of the sentence is just kind of a minor point in the sentence. It's not that important. So with the original sentence with commas, this is more important. Okay, so if you use commas, that shows that this information is more important than if you use parentheses. Okay, so it's your decision when you're writing. You can decide how important a part of the sentence is. If it's just if it's an important part of the sentence, well, you should write it with commas. If it's not very important, if it's like a little side note, You know, like imagine if you're writing something about your birthday. You could say, my birthday, which was last Friday. Okay, if you say that, that means the people you're writing to, you're just kind of including that information, last Friday, as just a side note. It's not a main part of the thing. So you could say, imagine if you're trying to tell someone what you did. You could say, my birthday was awesome. I went to Mexico for my birthday or something. So if you just want to add the information about last Friday, okay, then you could use parentheses or you could use commas, depending on how important you want that information to be, right? So parentheses mean less important. Okay, so let's talk about the meaning of this sentence. Scholarship. What does scholarship mean? Scholarship means free money that you get to go to university. Okay? It's free money that you get. Usually you have to apply for a scholarship. Most universities have lots of scholarships, and you might qualify for the scholarship. So that means free money. Now, where does that money come from? Who gives you that money? Well, scholarships, to be honest, I'm not really sure how this works, but very often successful people, rich people, if they want to give some help to a university, they'll maybe give some of their property or money to the university as like a perpetual source of income. Okay? Not just a one-time gift. This is a permanent every year gift. Okay? So, maybe 10 people could qualify for a certain scholarship. Now, most scholarships are named after the person who gave it, right? Like imagine if there's a rich person. The rich person's name is John Smith, okay? So the scholarship might be called the John Smith Scholarship. Guys, are we recording? Yes, we are. Thank you for joining me today. So the John Smith Scholarship exists, and maybe it's for 10 students every year. Okay, so that means the money that John Smith endowed the university, somehow it's a perpetual thing. It continues. I don't know how, guys. I'm not an expert on these things. If you know how, then let me know down in the comments. How does that money keep going? I don't know. I'm not sure. I kind of know, but I don't want to explain it now because I might make mistakes, guys. But the word perpetual means it keeps going. It's not just once. It doesn't stop. It's perpetual. Okay, so the scholarship endowed by an anonymous philanthropist. Do you understand what philanthropist means? A philanthropist is a very generous person who gives a lot of money. I can hear a sound coming from somewhere, guys. Coming from my computer? I think it's coming from my computer, guys. It sounds like a fan noise. Can you hear that? Weird. Anyway, hope it doesn't ruin my video, guys. So yeah, a philanthropist is like a rich person who gives a lot of money to charity. Philanthropists. Okay, guys, are you a philanthropist? Then maybe me and you should be best friends. Will you be my friend? I hope you'll be my best friend, guys. So a philanthropist, who is this philanthropist? Anonymous. Okay, that means we don't know their name. They chose to not give their name. They chose to remain anonymous. Okay, so we use the verb remain. You know, sometimes people choose to remain anonymous. Maybe you want to write something on Facebook, on like a Facebook group, but you don't want people to know who you are. So I think on Facebook or different apps, you can choose to be anonymous. You can choose to remain anonymous. That means your identity is hidden. Nobody knows who you are, okay? So this anonymous philanthropist gave the university, this money for the scholarship, okay? So it's going to help low-income students afford high-cost medical degrees. Do you understand this sentence now? So endow, right, it means to give something as a permanent gift. Notice this word permanent. It's not just something that you can get rid of right away. It's not like that. It's permanent. Okay, so that's what endow is. Here's an example sentence. Samson was endowed with supernatural strength. Okay, if you read the Bible, you'll see a story about Samson, a guy named Samson. He was very strong. He was endowed with supernatural strength. That means that was just part of the way God made him. God made him strong. Okay? Supernatural means higher than natural. Higher than normal. He had higher than human strength. Okay? Supernatural strength. Not normal among humans. Like imagine if you saw a guy flying up in the sky. You say, wait, look at that guy flying up in the sky. That's not normal. That's not natural. So would that be a human? Probably not. That would be an angel. Okay? Angels are supernatural beings. They're above natural. All right, like you and me, we're kind of natural people. Animals are natural. Trees, houses, those things are kind of natural. When we talk about supernatural, something to do with God or angels or demons or something supernatural, okay? So Samson was endowed with supernatural strength. Who gave Samson this supernatural strength? Well, it was God, right? But look at this sentence. In this sentence, it doesn't say God gave it to him. Why? It's because this verb endowed with is almost always used in the passive voice. Okay, if you learn about English grammar, you'll see two things: active voice and passive voice. Okay, there's two ways to construct a sentence. Okay, to make a sentence, you have different options in English. How to make your sentence, right? You could use passive voice or you could use active voice. It's your choice. But in English, some verbs are almost always used with the passive voice. And what it means is we don't know who the giver is. So, okay, look, here's Samson, right? He's got long hair and he's fighting a lion. You can read about this story in the book of Judges in the Bible. Very interesting story. Now, if we want to make the sentence passive, we would say Samson was endowed with supernatural strength. But if we want to make the sentence active voice, then we need to talk about God. Then we need to say God endowed Samson with supernatural strength. Okay, does that make sense? So you can use the verb endow with the active voice. We could say God endowed Samson. But in most cases, with the verb endow, it's in the passive voice, not the active voice. So look at this example with passive and active voice. Okay, if I tell you this, I was given first prize at the beauty pageant. The beauty pageant. A beauty pageant is a beauty contest. Like Miss Universe. They have I think it's every year that they have a contest called Miss Universe where they try to find the most beautiful woman in the world. Okay? And it's like a beauty pageant. Okay? So look at, if I say I was given first prize at the beauty pageant, is this sentence active voice or passive voice? It is passive. Why? We don't know who gave the prize. Who gave me first prize? If I tell you I was given first prize at that beauty pageant, do you care who gave me the prize? No, that information is not very important, right? I don't know, it was probably some committee of people who voted. Maybe it was a panel, like it's a panel of judges. Maybe there were like 10 judges, and the judges were giving everybody a score. And, maybe those judges gave me first prize at the beauty pageant. So is that information important? No, you don't care who gave me first prize. So that's why the passive voice is a useful grammatical structure for a sentence, right? Because there are a lot of situations where we don't need to know who did it, who gave something. So this would be great. It would be better to say this. This is a good way to say it, right? If I'm telling you something, I want something, I was given first prize at the beauty pageant. Like we could make it active, and we could say they gave me first prize at the beauty pageant. Okay? Maybe we don't know who they are. Okay? So we just use the word they. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's 10 people or 1,000 people. We don't care. So we're just going to use the word they. They gave me first prize at the beauty pageant. So, yeah. I hope that explains the difference between passive and active voice. Both are correct. Both are great ways to make a sentence. It's just sometimes one is better than the other. And some verbs in English are better for this one or this one. Okay, so the word endow, this is a verb that is almost always used with the passive voice. Does that make sense? Now, guys, endow also has a very specific meaning in a certain context. Like, look at this. She is well endowed. What does this sentence mean? She is well endowed. Well, in this situation, this sentence only has one meaning, and it's a very specific meaning. It means she has big. She's pretty big in this area. Okay? It probably means this area. If you just hear someone talking, oh, wow, that woman is well endowed. It probably means she's pretty big in this area. But it could also mean this area too, I think. But more likely this. But I think it could refer to both. Now, it could also be used for a man, and it would refer to this area. Okay, so we're talking big. Okay, so if you say he is well endowed, that would mean big in that region. Not over here, guys, in this not over here. We're talking this. So for a woman, if a woman is well endowed, probably talking about this region of her body. If a man is well endowed, probably talking about this region. Okay? So that's the verb endow. The noun is endowment. Okay, so, you could make a sentence like this. The university received an endowment. It means the university received a gift, like a permanent gift, maybe of money or maybe of some technology or some, I don't know, something. Like if a hospital receives an endowment, then, maybe the hospital gets new medical equipment, maybe some new, new, what are they called? MRI machines or, different high-tech medical equipment. Yeah, so there it is, guys, with the word endow and an endowment. Now let's talk about the word dowry. This is a very specific, this word has a very specific meaning, and we're talking about marriage. Okay, so a dowry is money or property given by the bride's family to the groom upon marriage. Okay, so money or property given by the bride's family to the groom. Now, guys, before I made this lesson, I thought the word dowry could go either way. I think in some cultures, the bride gives the man's side of the family, like the bride gives the groom money, but I think in other cultures, the groom gives the bride money. So I thought the word dowry could be used in both situations. And maybe I was right. Maybe it can be used in both situations. But I looked up the definition of this word in several dictionaries, and all the dictionaries that I looked up the word in, it's always going in this direction. The bride is giving the groom money, like her parents probably, or her family, like her side of the family is giving him money. It's not going this way. So I don't know. Not that important, but yeah. If the money is going this way, if he's giving her money, there might be a different word you could use, and that would be bride price. Okay? So if we talk about bride price, that means the money the man gives the woman. If we talk about dowry, that's what the woman gives to the man. But honestly, I think you could use the word dowry in both situations. I just wanted to mention that because I looked it up in several dictionaries, and they're always saying it's the bride's family giving money to the groom. Guys, I was thinking about that. Dowry. If it's always going from the bride to the groom, you know what I realized? It would be bad for me to get married to a Canadian woman. Because in Canada, in Western culture, there is no dowry. I've never heard of that concept in Western society. If I marry a Canadian girl or an American girl, I get nothing, guys. I'm not getting any money. But if I go to a different culture, maybe India or Africa or something, then I might get money. Guys, let me know in your culture. In your country, like if I come to your country and I find a bride, would I get money? That sounds amazing. I want that, guys. How much money do you think I would get? How much money do you think I would get? It better be at least 6 figures. It better be 6 figures, guys. 6 figures means between $100,000 and $999,999. Okay? Why? Because 6 figure means number. Okay, so look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So any number between 100,000 and 999,999 is 6 figures. Now, what if we add $1 to this? Well, then it's not 6 figures anymore. Then it becomes 7 figures. Okay, so $1 million is 7 figures. But 100,000 up to almost $1 million, then it's 6 figures. 6. If it's below 100,000, well, then it's 5 figures, right? Anything from 10,000 to 99,999. That would be 5 figures. Guys, do you know how to say big numbers in English? I made a video about that a long time ago on my channel. You know what I find? Even advanced English learners don't know how to say big numbers. So that's a test to see if, you know, if a person is a native English speaker, they know how to say big numbers. Like, do you know how to say this number? It's 999,999. Okay? You know where I'm putting the word and, that's a key indicator if someone is a native speaker or not. So, yeah, anyway, just a side point, guys. If you want me to make another video on big numbers, let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to do that. So when we're talking about dowry, we're talking about marriage. So guys, I learned something today. I realized if I want to get married, I should go to a different culture. That way at least I get a bit of money out of it. Man, that would love. That would be great, guys. You get married and get 6 figures. Even 1 figure would be great. $9 would be the highest, because $10 would be 2 figures already, right? I hope I get... Hey, there's some balloons, guys. I hope I get at least 2 figures. I wouldn't want 1 figure. 1 figure would be like $5. What am I going to do with $5, guys? So, guys, there we have endowment, dowry. Now let's talk about inheritance. So what does this word mean? Inheritance means money or property received from a relative. Okay? So that's your inheritance. You could say, I got an inheritance from my parents, or maybe from your grandparents or something, right? It's money that comes to you. So look at this example. John received a 6-figure inheritance. Okay, that means John received maybe $100,000 or maybe more, right? A 6-figure inheritance. Now, guys, usually in Western culture, an inheritance is received upon the death of your parents or the death of someone in your family, right? So in this example, it probably means that John's parents died. Okay, then he received the inheritance. But look at this sentence. If we say John received an early inheritance, then this means his parents are still alive. Okay, so this is an important word here. If we take this word out, then it probably means John's parents died. Does that make sense? So that's just how it is in our culture. How about in your culture? What happens in your culture? Do people receive an inheritance when their parents die? Or how does that work? Let me know down in the comments. I'd be interested to know that. And also let me know who pays the dowry. Okay, I'm kind of curious, in your culture, does a bride have to give money to the groom? Or does a groom have to pay a bride price for the woman? who pays the money is, I don't know. In Western culture, there is no money that changes hands. Like, there might be gifts, but it's not like an expectation, you know? Like, with the word dowry, what it means is, like, it's an agreement before the marriage, right? It's almost like you're buying that person. It's like making like a contract or a deal. Like in Western culture, if people give money to a bride or a groom, it's just a gift. It's not a dowry, right? Like maybe the bride's parents, maybe they give some money. Like imagine if I married a Canadian girl, maybe her parents would give me some money, but that would just be a gift. It wouldn't be a dowry. Do you understand the difference? Yeah, like in a lot of cultures, I don't know how it works. Let me know in detail how it works in your culture. Like, do people agree? Do they get together before the engagement? And do they actually set a price? Like, the dowry doesn't need to just be money. It could be land, or it could be property, like animals. It could be like some cows, or maybe some jewelry, or I don't know, something else. But it's like an agreement. So it's a bit strange because I don't know much about this topic. So if you let me know how this works in your culture, do they negotiate? Okay, I'll give you, we'll make a deal. We want to charge 100,000, and that person says, no, that's too high, 50,000, and they, like, do they negotiate a dowry? I don't know, guys. That seems kind of crazy. Like they're bargaining over marriage, over like the price of a groom or a bride. That seems just ridiculous. That concept seems really weird to me. But that's because I'm from this culture, right? So guys, inherit. Okay, this is the verb, to inherit something. Okay, inheritance is a noun. The verb is inherit. Okay, so we could say John inherited a lot of money. Okay, John inherited a lot of money. But look at this next sentence. John inherited blue eyes from his dad's side of the family. Okay, John inherited blue eyes. Are we talking about money? No, in this situation, we're talking about eyes. Okay, what color of eyes did he get? He inherited blue eyes. So when we use the word inherit as a verb, then it can also mean other things. It doesn't necessarily mean money. We could use it like this. But it's like, where did John get it from? Well, it was from his parents, right? Someone in his family had blue eyes. So that's why he inherited that, right? Yeah. So it's the same as if we say this. John was endowed with blue eyes. Okay, then it's this. Both these sentences have the same meaning. John inherited blue eyes. John was endowed with blue eyes. Okay, both mean the same thing. Now, why do we have to use the word was here, but not with the word inherit? We don't say John was inherited blue eyes, but we have to have the word was with endowed. John was endowed with. Why? Think about it, guys. What's the reason? Well, the reason is because inherit means to receive. Endow means to give. So these are opposite words, right? They have opposite meanings. Endow means you give. Inherit means you receive. So if we want to make the word endow also mean receive, then we have to change the words around to make it passive voice, and then it becomes was endowed with. Okay, so was endowed with means the same as inherited. Does that make sense? So John was endowed with or John inherited. Both mean the same thing. Now, what about this word? Can we make this word mean the opposite? Could we say John's parents inherited money to John? No, we can't. We can't make this word have the opposite meaning. With this one, we can make it have the opposite meaning, but not with this one. It would make no sense to say the parents inherited the money to John. No, we can't say that, because inherit means always to receive. If we want to make this the opposite, then we have to use a totally different word, and the word is bequeath. Okay, bequeath is the opposite of inherit. Look at this. His parents bequeathed their property to him. Okay, so John inherited the property, but his parents bequeathed it. It's like endow. Bequeath is kind of like the word endow. His parents endowed him with the property. His parents bequeathed it. John inherited it, or John was endowed with it. Does that make sense, guys? Would you rather inherit something or bequeath something? Let's say it was $1 million, guys. Would you rather inherit $1 million or bequeath $1 million? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking you would rather inherit $1 million because you are greedy. Don't be greedy, guys. It's not good to be greedy. It's better to bequeath money rather than to inherit it, right? I don't know. That's okay. If you inherit some money, I'll forgive you, guys. So let's do some homework. This video's already long enough. Yeah, I don't want my videos to get super long, but thanks for sticking with me all the way till the end, guys. If you stuck with me all the way to the end, then leave a code word down in the comments. Use the word watermelon in your comment to show me that you stayed till the end of the video. Okay? So if I see the word watermelon in your comments, then it's a secret code between us to show me that you watched my video all the way till the end. So thank you guys very much. I'll look for your code in the comments. So guys, for homework, tell me about a permanent gift. Okay, try to use the word endow or endowment or inheritance or bequeath, or dowry. And let me know, guys. I'm interested to know in your culture about the whole dowry, the dowry system. I don't understand it very much. So anyway, guys, there it is. Thank you guys for joining me so much. As always, I love you very much. Hope you're doing great today. And as always, I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.